Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
Jack Posobiec back live here, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. I want to play, I know we have a couple more clips from President Trump's speech. One specifically, he talked about what his policy is when we have horrible killings.
There are evil people. We're all people of religion, but there are evil people, and we have to confront that. I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country. You know, when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions, and the actions that we take are nothing. This cashless bail started a wave in our country where a killer kills somebody and is out on the street by the afternoon. In many cases, going out and killing again. Cashless bail, and you try and reason with people like in Chicago with the governor and the mayor. You try and reason with them, and it's like you're talking to a wall. It's just doesn't. I assume it's just a political ideology. They're not stupid people. It must be an ideology that's just buried in their head, and you can't do a damn thing about it. And we'd love to go into Chicago and straighten it out. You know, Washington, D.C., you'll be happy to know, is a free and safe zone. It's so safe right now.
I mean, just sitting there and hearing President Trump talk about this, confronting evil. Actually, and guys, do we actually have the clip where he talked about the Minneapolis shooting? Because I want to play that. I want to play that as well, if we have that clip.
Two weeks ago in Minneapolis, a demonic killer shot 21 people and murdered the two precious children at a Catholic school. Can you believe that? Hard to believe. And time goes by and people say, oh, I sort of remember it, but I remember it. I'll always remember it. What a horrible thing. Too many happens too much. Our hearts are shattered for the families of those beautiful children. And I've made clear that Attorney General Pam Bondi is working really hard, that we must get answers about the causes of these repeated attacks, and we're working very, very hard on that. The Trump administration will have no tolerance for terrorism or political violence, and that includes hate crimes against Christians, Jews, or anybody else. We're not going to allow it.
And one more I want to get into, President Trump talking about anti-Christian bias.
And I created the first ever Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. And for those people that are a little bit naive or not well read, there is a tremendous anti-Christian bias. We don't hear about it. We don't think about it. You hear about anti-Semitic, but you don't hear about anti-Christian. Now, you have a strong anti-Christian bias, but we're ending that rapidly. I will tell you, it's a whole. We're in a much different world today than we were 1 year ago. This is like a different world.
There you go, folks. President Trump throwing down, absolutely throwing down this morning at the Museum of the Bible. He talked about the ideology, the sick ideology, the indoctrination. We call it communism, Marxism. They're sick in the head and they can't be reasoned with. That's what he said. Sometimes when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. And he talked about the shootings. He used the word demonic about Minneapolis, and he talked about the anti-Christian bias prevalent in America that goes almost completely unheard of. And I'm glad that my president walked up that mic and talked about it. John Yep, the founder of Catholics for Catholics, joins us now. He was also in the room, seated a little behind me, but I guess he's on the other side. We didn't connect there, so we're connecting here. And John, hearing hearing the President of the United States speak about the demonic in such uncertain terms, I mean, what a sea change it's been from 1 year ago to now.
Absolutely, it has. Trump even said it himself. What a difference between last year and this year. And we're seeing it just, one to this morning was an example of that. Here you have the most powerful person in the world, President of the United States, taking time out of his day to go to the Museum of the Bible. No, not the Museum of the Quran, Museum of the Bible. That in itself is significant too. And just to go there and to have this panel looking specifically at where is the anti-Christian bias that we have seen on a pattern over these past years, specifically in our schools. So to have those representatives there and to hear Trump take questions like that, it was very important for America to watch what was said during that hearing.
Well, and I think too as well, talking about and of course J.D. Vance, the vice president, and his wife flew up to that school, Annunciation Catholic School, up there in Minneapolis after experiencing what they experienced. But to hear the president get into these theological terms, post the image of Our Lady on her birthday. Today is the Nativity of Our Lady, and really going up and saying that. And he's done this for a long. I had Dr. Taylor Marshall on the other day, and the very first time President Trump ever tweeted out one of our interviews, it was me and Dr. Taylor Marshall talking about the war on Christianity. It was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And here we are today talking about the exact same thing in action. And it seems to me, and John, you were instrumental in your group in putting up those billboards about St. Michael the Archangel, one of which went up right outside the fairgrounds there in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Talk to me about the importance of Butler in President Trump's, I'm just going to say it, it feels like he's been anointed.
There is a special anointing that has seemed to have gone on, right? Catholics for Catholics, we were very involved in the last election, getting President Trump elected, chasing out ballots, doing the hard work. And it's only fitting now that we want to join President Trump, or one of the official organizations joining the White House in this campaign of prayer that he has. Now, why would President Trump want to do a campaign of prayer? Because I think you're right, Jack. When he went down on the floor of Butler in that incredible book that you wrote, he came up a different person, right? God anointed him in a special way, and I think he's very cognizant that his time is short. Even look at his comments about Ukraine. Wasn't that so interesting when he was saying the other day, look, I want to stop the war. But why did he say that? He said, look, because he said it in reference to heaven, okay? I mean, would that every world leader would make their decisions based off the fact that, yeah, you're going to die one day, and either you're going to end up in heaven or in hell. So I think, Trump has this very much present in his mind, and it's great to see it. But we have to keep supporting him because it is a spiritual warfare, as we saw in Minnesota last week.
No, it's funny because Politico this morning was talking about Trump's religion, and has Trump found religion? They said most of the time he only talks about religion in terms of architecture and artwork, and of course it's the most beautiful in the world because it was designed by angels. But I texted them and I said, he just said he wants to get into heaven. I texted someone I know who works at Politico. I said, don't leave that out. You can't leave that out because something has changed since Butler in him, where I think he's always had respect for religion. I think he's always had a level of reverence for religion, but something happened. And that's, John, and you and I talked about this offline, but when I wrote that book of Bulletproof and it came time to choose the cover, why did I choose the cover? Not with the fist up, but where he's down, where President Trump is down and his hands are clasped in front of him. And it almost seems as though he's in prayer. And you see that light streaming through sort of the hole. And you can actually, that's actually the shoe of the Secret Service agent cutting across. And there's that video of the president talking about the book, and he's holding it up. But he actually asked me why I chose that for the cover, and instead of the other picture. And I said because Mr. President, this is the moment that allowed the next moment. This was the moment that the message was sent.
That's right. And Jack, I'm glad you brought up the whole beauty. Yes, Trump has a special knack for seeing beauty in architecture or whatever. And let's not knock that because, the scholastics actually had a term for that. When a soul would find God through beauty. They call that the via pulchritudinis, the way of beauty. So that, by all means, beauty does speak to Trump. And, I think that has led in a powerful way to him searching out for God and realize that there's deeper meaning in life.
That's exactly right, John. We got to run. Tell people, I know you're here literally on your way back to the airport, getting back to the fam. Where can people go to follow you and see everything that Catholics for Catholics is up to?
Yeah, I appreciate the Uber hit, Jack, and the car bouncing. But you can go follow us at cforc.com. Just Google Catholics for Catholics. Also, continuing on the White House's idea for prayer, we will be doing a Catholic prayer for America in Washington, D.C. next March. So follow us there, and we hope to see you there.
I'll be there, John. I will be there. Make America pray again. Jack Posobiec, right back. Real America's Voice.